everyone, it's Amy here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. So today we're going to be doing another reading like video. As I'm sure you will have seen from the title, we're going to be doing Sabine from Sabine's book Nook. I really enjoyed doing this video last time for Ashley at A Frolic Through Fiction. If you haven't seen that one, I'll leave it linked around here if you want to go and watch it. And so after filming that video, I asked my Instagram followers who they think I should do next. And a few of you said Sabine. And so I got in touch with Sabine, and I have to say, guys, she is the most sweet person I've probably ever contacted about anything ever. I asked her if she would be happy for me to film this video, and she was just so lovely. She sent me so many different suggestions of books, and she was really excited. And so yes, really love that. Thank you, Sabine. Another exciting thing is the fact that I am actually on a week of annual leave, so I'm hoping to get a fair amount of reading done. So I'm really happy that Sabine sent me a big list of books, because actually if I get through the 3 that I'm going to show you in a minute, then I have some reserves that I could jump onto as well. So what are we going to be reading? If you don't know Sabine, she reads a lot of contemporaries. She loves a contemporary, and I wouldn't say I'm a big contemporary reader. I do read them, but they're not normally the book that I would reach for first. However, the contemporaries I have read this year, I've really enjoyed. So with that in mind, the first book that I'm hoping to read is going to be Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I actually read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by this author earlier in the year. I listened to the audiobook and I loved it. It was a 5-star read for me. So I have full hopes that this is going to be another positive reading experience. I actually plan to get a little bit ahead of the game with this one, and so I started reading it yesterday thinking that I would maybe read a chapter or so, and I actually read about 150 pages in one sitting. It's a very readable book. Essentially, Daisy Jones and the Six follows a fictional band. However, at the beginning of the book, it reads like the author actually puts a note in saying this book is taken from interviews with the band and Daisy Jones and people that knew them all through their like rise into fame and all of that kind of stuff. And so when I started reading it, I thought it was actually real. Like, it reads like an interview with different people. And so I got kind of like 100 pages in and was like, wow, this is really cool. This band sounds amazing. I've never heard of them. And so I started Googling them and I was like, oh, it's not real at all. They're a fictional band, but it's very clever and it's very well done. And like, I believe that it was real. So yes, I'm really enjoying that one so far. The second book that I'm hoping to read is going to be Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. So I read The Poet X earlier this year. I actually listened to the audiobook of that one as well, and I really enjoyed that book. And so when Sabine mentioned this author to me, I was like, yes, I am so excited to read another book from this author. Now this one, like The Poet X, is actually a book that's in verse, written in verse, as you can see here, hopefully. And what I missed out with through listening to the audiobook of The Poet X was actually reading the verse on the page. So I'm looking forward to actually reading the words and seeing how I enjoy a book written in verse, kind of in physical format rather than via audiobook. And then the final of the main 3 books that I'm hoping to read is going to be Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. Now I haven't actually read anything from Alice Oseman before, but I did purchase the Heartstopper novels earlier this year, and so those are kind of my sideline books for this reading blog as well, because I think these are going to be very quick reads, and Sabine said she absolutely loves most things from Alice Oseman, so I'm going to have those ones as well as Radio Silence. And so yeah, if I get through all of those, then I may move on to some other books as well, but I will keep you updated and I will check in with you later. Bye! Good morning everyone, it's now Monday and I feel like I've been reading like a machine. I feel like I finished a load of books all at once and I've been having a really good time, so let me tell you what I've been reading. So I decided I thought to myself, I'll read the first of the Heartstopper books just as, you know, a nice little quick read, and then maybe I'll save the other ones for next weekend. But no, I read all 3 of them in one evening and I love them so much. So we basically follow the story of Nick and Charlie, and they are high school boys 14, 15, 16-year-olds, that kind of age. Charlie is out, and he was outed at school, and so he has been kind of suffering with a bit of bullying, and Nick is on the rugby team, and they become friends and they become best friends, and as it all goes, obviously they fall in love, but it's just such a sweet little journey. Oseman does a really good job of kind of portraying that feeling of having a crush and like that newfound love when you're kind of catching feelings for someone and you just want to spend all your time with them, and you get that little butterfly feeling in your tummy when you get a message from them, and she does that really well. Like it filled me with so much happiness, and so now I really want to get the fourth one because I believe that is out this month, and so super exciting. Someone also told me that they're making a TV show from it, so that's going to be really cute. After loving those, I also then decided to pick up the audiobook of Nick and Charlie, which is a short novella relating to another book I think called Solitaire. I haven't read Solitaire, I think that's where Nick and Charlie originated from, but I'm loving the audiobook. The voices of Nick and Charlie are just spot on, exactly how I would imagine them to be, and so that is just, it's filling me with a lot of happiness at the moment. I haven't read any more of Daisy Jones, but I have picked up Clap When You Land, and I'm really enjoying this one, guys. This is a really good week so far, so thank you, Sabine, for picking such amazing books. I whizzed through this. I literally just sat and read this morning, and I've read 170 pages already. We basically follow these two young women here on the front, Camino and Yahara, who are half-sisters but unaware of each other. So they have the same father, but this guy, this dad of theirs, kind of had a relationship with a woman in the Dominican Republic and then a relationship with a woman in New York, and so has these two families that don't know anything about each other. At the very beginning of the book, and it's not a spoiler for me to say this, their father dies in a plane crash, and so I'm imagining they're going to be unearthing secrets, and we'll be finding out properly about each other at some point soon and dealing with the grief of losing their father, but also finding out that he had a second life away from them. Oh, it's beautiful, it's sad, it's brought me to like a little bit of tears on a number of occasions because it's just wonderful. Like, how does she write stuff like this? The poetry, the things that she does with her words are just incredible, and so it's making me want to go back and physically read The Poet X. I gave it 5 stars anyway, so I'm sure I'll love it in physical format even more. So yes, looking forward to reading more of that one. So I think we're going to go on a little bit of a walk before it rains today because it's looking a little bit cloudy and we haven't been out of the house, so we're going to go for a nice walk. So I'll take you along and I'll catch up with you later. Bye. Morning. So it's now Thursday. This week of annual leave is absolutely, it's like saying goodbye to me so quickly. I cannot believe we're already on Thursday. I've had a busy week. Yesterday I actually went for my wedding dress fitting, which was really exciting. I'm pleased to say she hasn't made too many alterations, so it fit me as well as it did when I first tried it on nearly 2 years ago. And as of today, it's 9 weeks until we get married, so super exciting. But let me update you on what I've been reading. So I finished Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I loved this book, guys. 5 stars from me. I'm so excited to read more from this author because I was just blown away by this one. I loved the way it pulled apart this betrayal that both of these girls felt towards their father, but then the kind of grief and the realization that they had another sibling brought them together. It was just beautiful. I also finished reading Daisy Jones and the Six, another 5-star read from me. It was incredible. This week has been so good. I never thought that I would have so much fun reading all of these contemporaries. Like, honestly, I didn't know how this week would go. I thought maybe I would enjoy the books, but I am actually reassessing my thoughts towards contemporaries because they're not where I would usually go in the bookshop. They're not what I would usually reach for, and I've really enjoyed this. It's actually like really lightened my mood, despite the fact that there are heavy topics that I'm reading about. I've really enjoyed them. So yeah, I think I'm going to be heading out for more contemporary soon. If you have any recommendations that you think I should read, then definitely let me know down below. So anyway, Daisy Jones and the Six. I think I mentioned before that it's told almost like in interview format. So you have the names of the people that are talking and they are kind of sharing the experience that they had through either being in the band Daisy Jones and the Six or being kind of peripheral to that band. So it might be like the producer or one of the lighting guys or something like that. I love the way that it felt very real in terms of there wasn't the picture perfect romance between the two lead characters, which you may expect in something like this. It was brutal, it was honest, it felt like something that was very gritty and raw that could really have happened in real life. It has a real deep dive into the kind of music industry and the drug culture that was happening throughout the kind of 60s, 70s, 80s, like that time period, and how it can literally rip people apart, and almost that expectation on rock and roll bands or singers that they should be partaking in drugs and all of that kind of stuff. And so it was just so rife that they had really no other option. Taylor Jenkins Reid has an incredible talent for writing really wonderful characters. Daisy Jones was just like, I want to meet this woman, I want to know her, I want to chat with her. She just seemed so incredible, like one of those very rare people that you only meet kind of once in a lifetime kind of thing. That's how she was portrayed, and it was just amazing. So yeah, I absolutely love that one. I would highly recommend, and I cannot wait to get my hands on some more from that author. Then I've also started reading Radio Silence. I'm only about 100 pages into this one, but again, it's just so readable, these books. I'm just finding them really, really easy to just sit down and whiz through a load of pages. So far in Radio Silence, we have our main character who's a self-proclaimed nerd. She's really hardworking, wanting to get into Cambridge, so she's like pushing herself to get all the grades that she needs, and she doesn't really have a lot of friends or kind of close friends, and she is obsessed, like a proper fangirl, for this particular podcast. Can't wait to see where this one goes. I think when I initially started it, I thought, oh, are the two main characters gonna fall in love? Is this what it's gonna be? But actually I don't think it's going to, and I really like that fact. I like that it's not just gonna be like a boy meets girl, standard, you know, little romance thing. I think it's going to be more than that. I've got that feeling, so I will report back once I've read some more. See you later. Bye. So I'm back. So I thought I would just jump on quickly to close up this reading week and let you know how I got on with Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. So I think out of all the ones that I read this week, that one would rank the lowest. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it. I just think I had come off of such a high after reading Daisy Jones and Clap When You Land that this one just didn't really compare. So a few of the things that I loved about it were the fandom and kind of podcast aspect of the book. I actually found that to be the part of the book that kept me interested in the story the most. I also really loved the relationship that our main character had with her mother. I thought the kind of banter and just the way that the mum spoke to the daughter was unlike many relationships that I've seen in other books of this kind. I found their dynamic to be really refreshing. I think it's a really good book for young people, especially people who haven't yet made decisions on whether they want to go to university to read, because essentially the two main characters are really unsure about what they want to do, where they want to go. They're being pushed in certain directions by people, and their own internal impressions of themselves is that they should go to university and they have to push themselves to do these certain things when actually you don't. And I think that was portrayed really well in the book. So I gave a slightly lower rating due to the pacing of this book. There was a whole stretch of about 100 pages where nothing much really happened. There was no progress in the story, and it just felt like it was dragging along kind of endlessly for really no reason. There's also a mystery element in regards to the podcast, which I very quickly worked out what the mystery was, like pretty early on in the book, and so it felt a bit annoying to me that the main character hadn't picked that up, especially as she was being portrayed as such an intuitive and clever person, that something very obvious just wasn't obvious to her. What I would say for Alice Oseman's books though, they're all extremely diverse. The main character in this one is mixed race. We have asexual characters, bisexual characters, gay characters, literally everything you could imagine, and it's done really well. It's not done in a way that makes you think, oh, she's just ticking boxes by adding characters in. Like, it's just done in a really like subtle way that it's just like, hey, this is normal because hey, it is. So yeah, overall I had an amazing reading week. None of the books did I not enjoy, so that is just brilliant. Thank you so much, Sabine, for offering up all of these amazing books to me. I'm definitely going to be hitting you up for some more recommendations very soon. So there we are. This is the end of another reading like video. I would love to hear if you have any recommendations for any people that you would like to see me do this for in the future. As always, I'll leave links to everything I've mentioned today down below. I hope you're all having a lovely day and I will see you soon. Bye!